In our top story this hour, French special forces and intelligence commandos are engaged in covert operations against ISIL militants in Libya. The French newspaper Le Monde has reported this. The troops are said to be working together with the United States and Britain. Now, according to the daily paper, French President Francois Hollande had authorized unofficial military action by both an elite armed forces unit and the covert action service of the DGSE, and that's the intelligence agency in the conflict-ridden North African state. The source adds that the forces have been in Libya for several months now and operate from Benghazi's Benina airport. French Defense Ministry has declined to comment on the substance of the published story, but promised an inquiry into the information leak. France has in the past declared a war against the militants following attacks in Paris last November. Well, Libyan troops fighting ISIL militants are calling for more support from the West. They say Western weapons and airstrikes will make a vital difference in the coming battle against their better armed enemy. Clementine Logan has more.
This is one of Libya's last lines of defence against the so-called Islamic State. The Sunni Islamist group has seized territory in North Africa, and the city of Sirte is its stronghold. An hour's drive away, these few dozen troops are armed with little more than gun-mounted pickup trucks. The Libyan army says they need more support from the West.
God willing, we have the ability as humans, but we don't have all the resources we aim to secure. We hope the world will open its doors to us and help us secure things that we can't provide ourselves, especially logistic support such as treating the injured.
There are signs of a growing Western urgency to stop ISIL. Libyan commanders say Western weapons and airstrikes will make a vital difference in their battle against a better equipped enemy. The United States is thought to be pursuing a two-track policy. One is to try and bring competing factions together into an effective government. The other involves airstrikes. Meanwhile, French drones and British RAF jets are flying reconnaissance missions to help local forces fighting ISIL. Western governments have no plans yet to send combat ground troops into Libya. They want to see a united government and for the Libyan forces fighting ISIL to bridge their divisions. 5 years after Muammar Gaddafi's overthrow and death, Libya is caught between two rival governments. Tripoli is held by a faction of Islamist-leaning brigades and Misrata fighters who took over the city in 2014. They disagree over a United Nations deal to form a unity government. Libya's eastern government is backed by an alliance including the Libyan National Army and a brigade controlling oil ports. Its ranks are also split. Clementine Logan, CCTV.
Well, let's bring you more now on these latest developments out of Libya. We're joined live from Cairo by CCTV's Yasser Hakim. Yasser, to begin with, apart from these reports coming out of the Le Monde newspaper, do we have any confirmation from the region of the presence of foreign troops in Libya?
There were no official confirmations, but the media here in Egypt and in the region has been mentioning quite a few times in the last few weeks that there are British troops and French troops inside Libya, and even to the extent that the British special forces have helped the Libyan army to defend the oil depots that were attacked by ISIL last month around the city of Sirte. And also there were reports that Egyptian forces are inside Libya as well, working with the Libyan army. But none of the region's governments or officials have in any way confirmed these news. And it's always been sources from the media or unknown sources of information.
Now, as you say there, Yasser, the region's governments have yet to confirm the presence of foreign troops. But overall, do you think it is a move? I mean, the presence of Western powers carrying a secret war, do you think it is a move that Egyptian leaders and the regional leaders would support?
They would support it, but with conditions. The Arab leaders are afraid that any international intervention would see a repeat of what's happening in Syria and what happened in Libya in the first place when Muammar Gaddafi was ousted. due to assistance from NATO airstrikes. And then they left, leaving the country with infighting, with militias fighting each other. And there are fears this intervention again could cause not an end to ISIL, but actually more strength to terrorist groups and more chaos within the country and an overall war. So the Arab countries here see that any intervention should be coordinated with Arab countries, with the neighbors of Libya, and to be led by Arab forces or Arab plans because they know more how to coordinate with the Libyans inside. The problem in Libya is that when you move around, when I've been there, you don't know who to deal with. You've got tens of militias. Each militia has its own arms, its own weapons. They're fighting each other, and at the same time they're saying they represent the country. You have an international recognized government and parliament, but you also have another parliament in Tripoli, which is Islamic-backed parliament, and it is also claiming that it has been voted by the Libyan people and should claim also responsibility and powers. You've got an army led by Khalifa Haftar and the Libyan army, and this army is the one that is recognized. But however, because of the international arms embargo on the Libyan army, it is weak. It is useless against the tactics and the weapons of ISIL, because they do not have these weapons because there's an arms embargo. So what they need and what the West wants to do, they want to arm the Libyan army, but they are afraid that these arms and weapons would fall into the wrong hands, like what happened in Syria. So what will need to be done is that we find a coalition government that is sort of applied and supported by all the international organizations and by the Libyan factions, one government with one leadership, and this government would get the weapons support, the financial support, the intelligence support to help fight ISIL and also the other militias that are infighting in Libya. Until this happens, the chaos will continue.
Indeed, it seems that whoever's leading a foreign intervention, military intervention, will have to tread carefully. Thanks very much for that insight. Yasser Hakim live for us there in Cairo.